Okay, today is October 25th and I'm starting my first batch of Homebrew and see how it goes. I'm currently trying to get the temperature of the water to 155 degrees as to start steeping the grains, which will take about 30 minutes. And I'm making a New Belgian style beer, like Fat Tire, but they call it Flat Tire, so we'll see how it goes. We're starting with about 2 gallons of tap water to bring it up to 155 degrees in this process, and we want to maintain that. We do not want it to get to a boil yet, so we'll keep an eye on it and just go from there. Okay, let's check the temperature, see where we're at. Ooh, we're right at 155. Somewhere in there. So we're really close, ready to start steeping the grains. Here is our bag of grains that we'll be putting in the pot for just about 30 minutes. Again, this is a Flat Tire style beer. Here are the grains inside the water, 155, 160 degrees, again for 30 minutes. You can now see that it is getting a little bit, change the water color, more towards what the final product color will be probably. At this point, the steeping of the grains is over, and we are ready to add our malt extract that came with the kit, the Flat Tire Ale. The other thing we will be doing is removing the bag and so that we can add the malt. So we'll take the bag out. If we want to keep the bag, we can rinse it and discard the contents, or just throw the whole thing out, because usually with the kit you get a new grain bag, so no need to usually keep it. At this point, we'll pour in the contents of our golden malt extract into the pot. And I got the little plastic piece in there, but that's fine. I'll pull that out as I'm stirring, as I'm mixing it all together. See the nice color it has? It's caramel extract. Now that we've added the extract, before we bring it back to a boil, what we'd like to do is make sure that all that extract is dissolved pretty thoroughly. Otherwise we might get some burning on the bottom, and that would not be so good. So we'll give it a good thorough stir, and then we will get this, put the fire back underneath it, and heat it up to a boil. Now we're doing this outside just because for smell or odor purposes. I don't think you'd want to do this inside, because the house may be, unless you're single maybe, but otherwise your wife may not care for you too much, so that's why we like to do this outside. Now you can see we're back, have the heat going again. Wait for that first bubble, and we'll start adding yeast. There's the leftover product. The nice caramel brown. You can see this very well, but this is our next step once it starts boiling, to add the 1 ounces of Northern Brewer pellet hops. That's the hops. And they are little pellets. It's hard to see in there, but they are little pellets. So we'll add those, and then we'll boil for 60 minutes. Here you can get a better look of what the hops look like. I'm sure there are lots of hops out there, so this is just one type. Okay, we're just about at the end of the process here of boiling, and getting ready to add in the last hops that we talked about. It's for aroma. It looks to me like it's Saz pellet hops. So I'm going to add those in. Again, they're small little pellets, and we'll see what happens. And then the next time you'll see us will be cooling this down, cooling the wort down. Okay, now we're cooling it down. We want to get it below 80 degrees as fast as possible, so we're going to pack it with some ice and get the wort cool down so that we can add some yeast and get it started fermenting. Okay, now the temperature below 80 degrees. Can't find the mark, but trust me, it's below 80 degrees. And we will add the yeast. Actually, scratch that. What we do is we take this 2 gallons, pour it in our fermenting bucket, and add water to just over 5 gallons. And then at that point we can take a hydrometer reading, which gives us the alcohol content level, or we can just add the yeast, and then put her to bed for a couple weeks. Alright, so I'm going to take a hydrometer reading, see what our alcohol content is. And what it tells me, I have to read it and then tell you what it says. It's about 5.5%. Now I'm going to add the liquid yeast that has been getting ready to go. Before I add the yeast, I guess the directions call for a little aeration, and they make some aeration equipment, or you can just dump back and forth between a couple buckets to get that air in there. So we will try that as doing that first. Now here's the yeast. They make powder and they make liquid. And there's different liquids. Some liquids come in little tubes. This comes in a packet, but it is liquid. And there is a packet inside that you crush and break so the two, in about 3 hours, you can see how the bag is a little puffy now because it is fermented and the yeast is active. And I'm going to cut it open. They have you sanitize everything before anything goes in the bucket, so that way no bacteria gets in and causes any harm to the beer. So I have sanitized the bag, and I'm going to cut it open and pour it in. So here we are. We're going to pour the yeast in to the bucket, and then we'll mix it up and put the lid on and get her started. Okay, here it is. The next 2 weeks we'll sit in that bucket and bubble away. So the bubbles are gone, and we'll make sure the hydrometer alcohol level stays the same for a few weeks or a few days. And then from there, the next step will be bottling. Okay, well now it's about time for bottling. So what we need to do is we're going to take 1 cup of water, boil some sugar in it that come with the kit, and then we add that to the bottom of our bottling bucket. Then we'll pour our mixture, our beer mixture, in on top of that, and then we're ready to bottle. And so we're getting very close to the end product. So here it is. We're taking our 1 cup of water along with our 5 ounces of priming sugar, and we're going to pour it in we'll get heated up. I want to boil it for 5 minutes, and then we let it cool down before we add it to the beer. So what this will do, the purpose of this step is when we bottle, then we'll have, this will help start the carbonation process within the bottle, which takes a couple weeks after we do bottle that it is carbonated. So that's the last step, and like I said, we now are just waiting for the water to boil. That goes for 5 minutes, and then we add it to our mixture. So here we are again. Sugar is now almost done boiling. See how it's cleared up. It's almost like water, very clear. So we turn it off here in a second, let it cool down. pour it in our bottling bucket, and then add our mixture on top of it, and then we can start bottling. Okay, so what I've done is I put that sugar mixture in the bottom of my bottling bucket, well, temporary bottling bucket, as I'm going to move it back to this bucket. I think it'll be easier. But I'm moving the beer from the bottling bucket that I'm going to use to another bucket to mix with the sugar. You can see I'm running it through a nylon filter bag just to hopefully get rid of most of the particles in there, so it'll be a nice clear beer, and we'll see how that goes. Now I'm transferring it back after I filtered it into a final bottling bucket. Once that's done, I'll start trying to put this into bottles and capping them and see how that works out. This will be a first time they're doing that as well. So this seems to be going pretty good, the system I have. We'll just see if it works. So I have my bottling system in place. My gravity flow tube coming out. It's kind of not the best system, but I'm working out the kinks. I'm having a lot leaking a little bit. But here's my capper. I'm going to cap my first bottle. Alright, so I think I have this down pretty good with the capping process. This capper is actually pretty nice. You just take a cap that sticks to a magnet inside there. You want to grease the inside here just so that when it does crimp onto the bottle that it doesn't get stuck. So I just took a little Vaseline and very lightly greased the inside. So you put the bottle on, you put the cap inside here, and you lower the handle. There's a little push button release. You lower it down onto the bottle. You hear it lock in place. And all you do is pull the handle down, and you can kind of tell when it locks on. Don't be afraid to push too hard. Then you just push the release again, raise it up, and then there's a bottle capped. So pretty straightforward. I got about one case done, and I got a few more to go. Alright, here's the finished product. So 52 bottles actually is what I ended up with. I think it says between 48 and 54, so that's right in there. Now my concern is I have a couple caps that don't sure how tight they are, so what I plan on doing is putting some towels over the top of them and underneath them in case they pop, which I've heard people that's happened when the carbonation starts, that if the lids aren't tight they may pop them off and make a mess. So I am going to cover them with towels and blankets just in case. So 2 weeks from now we'll get to chill them down and try them.